Welcome, everyone, to the Fandom Podcast Network special presentation of Time Warp, where we cover the movies and pop culture of an entire year. In this year's episode of Time Warp, we will cover the year of 1990. And, of course, includes the television, the music, and news, and, of course, the movies. 1990 is celebrating its 35th anniversary as of this recording. And we're doing something a little bit different this month of July of 1990. This is actually part 2 of July. Previously, you may have listened to it or watched it on YouTube. We covered the television mostly, and of course, some of the music and pop culture and toys. But we wanted to spread it out because there was a lot to cover in July. So this month, we are covering the movies in July of 1990. My name is Kevin. I will be your host. And of course, this is, the Fandom Podcast Network and Time Warp. Please go ahead and hit the QR code there, right there. If you are watching us on the video, I'll take us straight to the website. We appreciate that. But I need to introduce my Time Warp and crew. This time I'm going to bring in Kyle Wagner, my, of course, good old buddy and co-founder of the Fandom Podcast Network. Welcome to 1990 July, the movies, Kyle.
I only have one thing to say about this podcast. Ditto.
I kind of feel like, we need to make some clay, man.
Oh, no, we ain't going that far.
I know someone that'll make some clay with us, and that, of course, is the queen of movie foo, Lacey Adderhold. Welcome, Lacey. How are you?
Hello. I'm well. I am not interested in clay making. I'm just not. It's not fun. That's just very dirty, and it's hot. It's 100 degrees outside. I'm not going to get around.
It is July as we're recording this in 2025, and I know that you're in the Georgia, Atlanta area, and I know how hot it gets.
It's 100 degrees outside, y'all.
Yeah, I know. Here in Santa Barbara, it's like 69, 70 degrees. It's absolutely.
Just go away. Yeah. Go away now.
My air conditioner broke. So the main floor of my house right now is 92 degrees.
Oh, that's just bad.
I'm in the basement, and the cats are upstairs in the top floor with the better HVAC. Woo, yeah.
Well, we are celebrating 1990, guys. It's fun to be talking 90s, and we decided to split this up into two because there's a lot to talk about. And the first part was the television shows of 1990. That was the majority of the discussion. We had a great discussion there. We had a nice discussion about Milli Vanilli. So make sure you check that out. But we are now discussing the movies of 1990. And we got some bangers on here. So I'm really excited about this. So let's go ahead and get into the show. As we get into the movies, we do have some entertainment news that is interesting, guys. In 1990, we, of course, have some, celebrity film debuts here. And you may recognize some of these. Of course, in 1990, we had Marcia Gay Harden. She was in Miller's Crossing. Great film. Jaimin Hunsu in Without You, I'm Nothing. Valerie Lemercier in May Fools. And Nia Long in Buried Alive. Nia Long. Remember her. And we have some interesting entertainment news. Oh, wait, Kyle has something to say. What's up?
I need a piece of homework from you guys because you have Jaimin Hunsu on this list of celebrity film debuts. I recently just went back and did a rewatch of the season premiere of Beverly Hills 90210. And not only did I forget that Maxwell Caulfield was in that season premiere.
Oh, wow.
There's a scene where Brenda and Dylan go into a nightclub, and I think the bouncer is Jaimin Hunsu.
Jaimin's in 90210?
I think he's playing the bouncer of this nightclub, and I need one of you guys to go watch that and just double check for my own eyes with me.
Where did you stream this? Because I know you streamed
Paramount
this, right?
Plus.
Paramount Plus. Okay, all right. Okay. I'm gonna write a note here. Paramount Plus, 90210, 902. And you said that it is on the first episode, right?
Yeah, the premiere episode, the 2-hour premiere or whatever, 90-minute premiere or whatever it was.
God, I can remember that almost like it was yesterday. It was great. Those details. Well, guys, we've got some entertainment news to dive into right before we hit the movies here. And these, of course, have something to do with movies. July 4th, the first digitally manipulated matte painting is used in Die Hard 2. I remember this. Do you?
Oh, yeah, very much so. This was the start of a lot of things for science, for special effects and getting away with certain things as we slowly kind of started moving away from green screens quite so much.
Lacey, do you remember this?
I mean, I remember Die Hard 2. I don't know that I remembered that it was a backdrop matte painting, but cool. I mean, it's really neat. I feel like, you know what? Matter of fact, I think I do remember one of the special features.
Yeah.
Talking about, yeah. Right on. Very cool.
Next, we have July 13th, and we'll talk about Ghost, starring Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore, Whoopi Goldberg. His release and grosses $506 million, making it the third highest grossing movie at the time. At the time, not that year, but at the time, that was huge.
Yeah,
what are we talking
Ghost
about?
was
Star
a phenomenon.
Wars? What's that?
I said Ghost was a phenomenon.
Yeah, we'll discuss that more. But I'm realizing that's a lot of money at the time. What is it competing with? Like Star Wars, Jaws, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think I just said all Steven Spielberg.
Top Gun, I think.
Top Gun. There you go. Yeah. So there you go. All right. Well, guys, it's time to talk about the movies. Here we go. Speaking of Die Hard, the first one we're going to talk about is Die Hard 2. Action movie. I don't know if you guys know that. Made a little over $239 million in its theatrical run here. Die Harder, Die Hard 2. John McClane attempts to avert disaster as rogue military operatives seize control of Dulles International Airport in Washington, D.C. Directed by Rennie Harlan. Stars, of course, Bruce Willis, William Atherton, Bonnie Bedelia, William Sadler, Fred Thompson. Huge sequel, made a lot of money, more than the first one. Kyle, before we start talking about film, give us some trivia on Die Harder, Die Hard 2.
Well, you talked about how huge it was. The film exceeded all expectations, outgrossing the original Die Hard by almost double. So that was huge. In the first Die Hard, John McClane only had a few scripted one-liners. However, Bruce Willis ad-libbed many one-liners, and audiences liked them. So much so that in the sequel and the next one, more gags were added, and Willis was told he could ad-lib as much as he saw fit. The general is from Valverde, the fictitious Latin American country used in Commando.
I love that.
Yeah. And finally, Rennie Harlan made sure the scene where Major Grant says to McClane that he is the wrong guy in the wrong place at the wrong time, with McClane responding, "Yeah, story of my life," ended up in the movie's trailer because it perfectly summed up McClane's character.
I thought Major Grant, of course, played by was it William Sadler? I still giggle every time at the beginning of the film when the news crew comes up, the news reporter says, "Hey, can I have a couple of words?" And he goes, "Yes, F and U." Still makes me crack up. So, Lacey, Kyle, how'd you guys watch this? I have the Die Hard Blu-ray collection that includes all the Die Hard movies. What about you, Lacey? What you got?
Recently, I have that one, but I also got the five movie collection.
Yeah, that's what this one is too. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the Blu-ray and digital. It includes both theatrical and unrated versions of Live Free or Die Hard and A Good Day to Die Hard. Woo!
I have a correction to make. You have the complete collection. This just includes 1 through 4.
Right. I had that one. Then I had to add this one.
I need to upgrade to that one. So yeah.
I also, it's not here. It's way over there. But I also have the Nakatomi Plaza, like, collector's edition of Die Hard, which is kind of cool. It's about 2 feet tall, or well, it's 18 inches, about a foot and a half tall. It's fun.
In November, you may not have that. I just want to let you know. Kyle, did you
pull back a nub? You will pull back a nub. I'm sorry. Thank you. No, thank you.
For those of you that don't know, I'm going to be visiting Lacey and Kyle in November.
Yeah.
Kyle, did you stream it?
Yeah, I own this digitally, so I watched it that way. I just have to say, I think Die Hard 2 has become the underappreciated Die Hard film.
Well, I want to ask you guys a question. You know, we know what happens in the film. We've seen it 100 times. We love the Die Hard movies. Also, to one of our favorite podcasts, Kyle, of course, Rewatchables, just talked about Die Hard 3. They've done Die Hard before. So I did a full rewatch on all the Die Hards. I'm going to just tell you real quick. My favorite is Die Hard 3, followed by Die Hard, followed by Die Hard, Live Free or Die Hard, the Timothy Oliphant one. He's so good in that. And then Die Hard 2, and then Live Free or Die Hard. The last one is my least favorite. Kyle, what's your favorite Die Hard movie?
The original is still my favorite. but it's close with the third one. And I'm a big fan of Live Free and Die Hard because Oliphant is so good as the villain in that.
Oh, God, really good. And by the way, John McClane cooks in that when he starts taunting him about, having to find more henchmen. It's great. Lacey, what's your favorite Die Hard movie?
I think the order that I like them is 1, 4, 2, 5, 3.
Third one's your least
Yeah,
favorite.
3 is my least favorite.
Interesting. Yeah, that one's my favorite. I just love Samuel Jackson as his unexpected buddy. So that one for me, I can watch that one anytime. But any thoughts on Die Hard 2? Were you guys? I felt sometimes people were a little disappointed with it, even though it made a lot of money. I feel like it underwhelmed a little bit when the other ones started coming out. It kind of fell down a little bit on the ladder. I don't know. What do you think, Lacey?
I think, okay, so the first one, great, awesome, yay. The second one, set at Christmas, trapped in a single place.
Yeah.
Terrorists also perpetrating, so I think that they used the stamp. The first movie was great. They just pulled a Mummy too, they kind of, and then they realized that they can't just keep trapping him places. You can't trap him on a boat and in a plane. You just can't do that.
That's why I liked 3, because it got him out everywhere, and it was a great New York movie too.
So then they decided to go with Out and About, where they had to do like the scavenger hunt or whatever. Okay, fine. Then with 4, I think they realized that they were trying to, because that's at that point it was like 20 years later, 22 years later or something. So they wanted to kind of get that younger generation in. You add Justin Long to anything, and it's automatically just going to be super, super fun. For me, you said Timothy Olyphant. Don't get me wrong. I love Timothy Olyphant. For me, that movie was hilarious because Justin Long and Bruce Willis had such a great chemistry.
Oh yeah. I think it's very underrated as part of the Die Hard thing.
And that gave him the update with his daughter, so it served purpose to go to the 5th one being about his son.
Yeah, otherwise known as Mrs. Obi-Wan Kenobi right now. So yeah.
You what? Oh, Mary Lou. Okay. Yeah. I said Kyle, his son, and you said Mary.
Kyle, your thoughts on Die Hard 2?
I think it's a lot of fun. I think because it's still kind of has that carryover from the first Die Hard and it being Christmas and that aspect of it. It's fun. This movie has a lot of people in it that people forget are in this movie. I'm looking at it in front of me. Okay, you have the great John Amos in this movie. Love John Amos. Yep. Dennis Franz in this movie. You have Fred Thompson in this movie. You have Robert Patrick in this movie.
Yep.
You have John Leguizamo. You have Vondi Curtis Hall. There's a lot of guys before they broke big that were in this movie. And I think this movie gets a little bit of a bad rap because it follows the Die Hard formula a little bit too much. But then again, you think about it, the Die Hard formula was kind of a new thing still at this point when this movie came out. I think this is, like you said, Kevin, as sequels have come out, this movie's gotten pushed down farther. I still think this movie is a lot of fun. I think people have given it too much of a hard time of late. Plus, one of the greatest icicle kills of all time.
Yeah, and you got the turn of the special forces guys with Amos and all that, and Dennis Franz, though, after rewatching this, I just want to punch him in the face so many times. He was just one of those characters. But yeah, definitely a good sequel. I love the franchise. It was fun to revisit.
And this is one that I watch every Christmas. I watch the whole series every Christmas. That's kind of one of my things. Yeah.
All right, next we have the Jetsons movie, comedy, animated, just made almost $20 million, about $19 million and some change here. George Jetson is forced to uproot his family when Mr. Spacely promotes him to take charge of a new factory on a distant planet. Of course, stars George O'Hallahan, Penny Singleton, Mel Blanc, and Tiffany, who does the voice and sings and does Judy Jetson. And you are holding up the Blu-ray there, it looks like. Lacey.
Yeah.
Nice. That one's tough to find. I actually found mine by chance when I was in Australia last month at an op shop, as they call thrift stores, as we call here in the US. And I found it for like a couple bucks. And got a chance. I thought I wasn't going to be able to review this film because I'd never seen it in the theater. So anyway, let's start with some trivia there, Kyle. Hit us with some trivia there.
Yeah, what's kind of sad is we got a kids movie, but this got some dark trivia to it. A few months before his death, George O'Halloran had recorded all of his dialogue for George Jetson, according to voice director Andrea Romaro. O'Halloran had suffered a second stroke and found it difficult to read and hear. In the end, he died in the recording studio doing what he loved. Jeff Bergman was used in some scenes because O'Halloran and Mel Blanc died during the production. The film is dedicated to the memory of both of them. And this right here, that you mentioned Tiffany being in the cast. This is one of the things that I so feel for voice actors, because Janet Waldo, voice artist and the original voice of Judy Jetson, recorded the part for this film, but was later replaced by then pop star Tiffany. Studio executives hoped that Tiffany would attract a younger audience. Waldo continued to voice the part in future Jetsons productions.
So it's weird. I never knew this film had this kind of dark, kind of somber moment, because we were losing a couple of its stars and what was happening here. I had no idea this was a thing. And I got to tell you guys, I look back and, and I think about Tiffany, and I think, the songs I think are Alone Now and some other songs that she did. Back at that time, though, I hated Tiffany. Do you guys want to know why?
Because you love Debbie Gibson.
I love Debbie Gibson, but in 1987, 88, when Tiffany and Debbie were hitting the scene, there was a local radio contest with the local high schools, and they were promoting Tiffany's tour around the world, also at malls and stuff. And the high school that did this promotion the best, I forgot what it was, had something to do with newspapers and everything. They would win a free concert, Tiffany concert, at the high school gym or whatever it is. She would make an appearance, and I think she was going to do like a video or something like that. Well, our high school won, right? And I didn't really promote much of the event. I did a little bit, but our high school won. And then they canceled the event because of scheduling conflict. And then it became the dance instead, and it was an anti-Tiffany dance.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. There's a lot of people that were pissed. I didn't really care much, but in a little bit, I guess I did, because it was more of high school pride. I was proud Santa Barbara High School Dons member, and so that was a big thing. Anyway,
from the Tiffany to Tiffany dance.
I know, right? But yeah, she there's some songs she showcases her singing capability in this, and So your thoughts? You have the Blu-ray there, Lacey. Your thoughts on the Jetsons movie?
This is a Kino Lorber situation, and by the way, $12, Kino Lorber.
Nice.
So it got 2 commentaries on it. They're really fascinating. One of them is by a film historian named Lee Gambin. He talks kind of about the history and how the reactions to Tiffany and all the different things, and the fact that the Jetsons is one of those weird cartoon series where there are not a lot of episodes for a show. It started in it's listed as being from like 1968 to 78 or 72 or something like that. But there were like 7 years in the middle there where they didn't have any new shows. It was like 1 year, and then they skipped like 6 years and then brought it back out again. It didn't do like a rehash or anything.
A lot of reruns, yeah.
Yeah, but the second commentary is really cool. It's with a voice actor named Jeff Bergman, who came in after the fact because Mel Blanc and O'Halloran had passed away, both between voice recording and the release. And so he actually came in to do George Jetson, Mr. Spacely, and a ton of other like smaller roles, just to kind of give a lot of the grunts and the oofs and anything that didn't have a crisp, clear thing. So, and it's really interesting to listen to him talk about, the respect that he had for Mel Blanc and George O'Halloran, and trying to figure out how to make sure he didn't overstep and not wanting to. It's a really interesting commentary if you listen to it. And they do talk a lot about Tiffany and how it was just really not well received. Yeah. And because of the fact that the original voice actress, because she was still alive, and she was the only one that was still alive.
Janet Waldo. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they were like, oh, okay, well,
you're like replacing a legend there. So yeah.
Yeah.
Kyle, your thoughts, not this one, your thoughts on the Jetsons.
This was a point when they were rehashing a lot of classic cartoons. We had live action Flintstones around this time, and They were trying to get on the retro respect of it. For the Jetsons, for me, the Jetsons was fun. I was never one of those all-time favorites growing up. This was kind of a flash in the pan, but again, the big thing was this came out and we had lost these two great voice legends in animation, and it was such a
Mel
shame.
Blanc, and just a legend,
yeah, Yeah, and then what happened with the Tiffany situation just was not right. It wasn't good. It was all It was all about marketing. I think a lot of people, the Hollywood people kind of really turned against this film. And this film didn't even get that great of marketing either. So I think it was kind of like, if it would have been come out about 5 years later, it'd probably just been a direct-to-video movie.
Yeah, I forgot this was a theatrical release. I didn't see it, so yeah, that's fascinating. But it was interesting. It was cool to pick up a copy in Australia and finally get a chance to watch it for the first time. And I got to tell you, the copy's not great, or maybe it was the transfer. Blu-ray, I'm sure, is a lot better, but I was just like, they could have done better with the DVD. So yeah, bad transfer. Okay, next film we're gonna have fun talking. Oh, Lacey, yes.
One thing really quickly that I would like to say about this: when Mel Blanc passed away, they actually talk about the print that was created. That was a picture of Bugs and Daffy and Porky and of several of the other characters that Mel Blanc had voiced, and then standing next to a spotlight with a microphone, and it was just empty, and it was titled "Speechless."
And I remember that.
When that came out, there was still a WB store in the mall, and my parents gave me that poster, that frame, or the framed print.
Oh, that's cool.
For Christmas one year. I still have it.
I remember that. I remember that.
Still tearing up. Like it's.
Yeah, I remember that image floating around. Rest in peace, Mel Blanc.
Yeah. Oh.
All right, guys. The next thing we're talking about is this movie right here, The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. I'm actually holding up an original VHS copy. And what's interesting, by the way, is I love these cases of the VHS copies where you squeeze the sides and the tape comes out. I've always been a fan of those. Yep. I remember when they started carrying those. And Lacey, you're holding up the DVD version of it right there, because I also have that one as well. And that good classic cover of Ford, hanging out on his the hood of the Ford Fairlane. But I found a European release of a Blu-ray. This one here, I'm holding up, and I didn't get a chance to watch it like when I first got it, because I wanted to wait for this podcast. And the menus I think they're in German or Italian or something like that. So they're not in. The menus are, but you can watch it in normal English and stuff like that. But you're like, wait a minute, what's German for like subtitles? What's German for scene? So you have to kind of like go back and forth, trial by error. But it was a good quality. But of course, what did I do? I turned it into a Blu-ray DVD combo.
Yes,
your idea, Lacey. So yeah, and of course, here is the classic poster. Made for Adventures of Ford Fairlane, of course, comedy theatrical release was just over $20 million that it made. Andrew Dice Clay goes on to say on the poster, Kojak, Columbo, Dirty Harry, whips the adventure of Ford Fairlane. Directed by Rennie Harlan, guys. He's on a roll this year. A vulgar private detective is hired to find a missing couple and is drawn into a mystery involving a series of murders tied to the music industry. Of course, director Rennie Harlan, stars Andrew Dice Clay, Lauren Holly, Wayne Newton, Priscilla Presley, Maddie Corman, Gilbert Gottfried, Ed O'Neill, Vince Neil of Motley Crue, and of course, Robert Englund, otherwise known as Freddy Krueger. Lacey.
And don't forget Morris Day.
Morris Day and
man.
I'm sorry, it's just Morris Day, not any. Morris Day. Wait, hold on. Let's get some trivia first. Kyle, go ahead and hit us with some trivia.
Yeah, Billy Idol was cast as Smiley, but had to pull out because of that nearly fatal motorcycle accident he had around this time. Rennie Harlan personally asked Robert Englund, who had previously worked with him on Nightmare on Elm Street 4, the Dream Master, to take over the role after Idol's accident. Idol's song Cradle of Love is playing when the fraternity sister takes Ford Fairlane and Zuzu pedals to her house. Howard Stern auditioned for the role of Johnny Crunch at Andrew Dice Clay's insistence. Stern insisted the character was written with him in mind, and he didn't want to play himself, but he tried out for it anyway. It did work out, and Gilbert Gottfried was selected. And also, Fairlane comments about being banned by MTV, which banned Andrew Dice Clay for life in 1988. The ban was lifted several years later. And finally, Stephen Percy, lead singer of Rat, was considered for Bobby Black. The role instead went to Vince Neil of Motley Crue.
Nice.
Lacey, your thoughts on Ford Fairlane?
Okay, so there's a commentary by Rennie Harlan. It's a great commentary. He gives good commentary. He's a fun commentarian, commenter. He's a fun one to listen to. A lot of little nits and picks that you wouldn't necessarily know. He had some really good fun stuff to chat about. I think that Maddie Corman in this movie, when she is plays so dumb, she plays this like
she's Zuzu Pedals.
And when she starts talking about the CD that he left her, she's like, it's kind of cool. It's like, and it just is the funniest.
Yeah,
you're sitting there just, oh, honey, no. It's one of my favorite random things.
That is a good one. Yeah,
in film, it's delightful.
I just enjoyed watching Andrew Dice Clay as his character because he's pretty much playing himself, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And of course he's got the little holster with his cigarettes and cigarette lighter, and he's a guy that walks in and owns every room that he walks into. Mm-hmm. What I find funny about rewatching this movie, though, and I thoroughly enjoy it. My good friend Kat Cedar and I love this movie, and we actually went to see Andrew Dice Clay live I guess call it in concert, or his comedy special soon after this movie came out, I believe. And what I find funny about this is that he does a lot of voiceover when he's kind of talking about stuff. And I have a feeling like a lot of that voiceover, because I'm sure they filmed it in 89. A lot of the voiceover was done right up until the release of the film, because there was a mention of Milli Vanilli in this, because Lauren Holly, by the way, who looks hot, plays his assistant Jazz, and they're struggling making money, and they're saying Milli Vanilli finally got back to us. They paid us in biker shorts and like dreadlocks or something funny like that, which I thought was great. I just have to say, on the rock and roll side, it was interesting to see Vince Neil as Bobby Black, I think was the name of the character that was killed off. I would have rather have gone with Stephen Pearcy, just because I think he's a better vocalist. And what's interesting too, we learned about that motorcycle accident with Billy Idol. That changed a lot for him, because there's a lot of stuff that he couldn't do. He couldn't be the T-1000 in Terminator 2. He couldn't be in this movie. He was going to be making some movies, apparently. And the scene when he goes to the sorority is one of the funniest scenes I've ever seen. The look on his face, and the gratuitous shot of all the hot girls running around, doing pillow fights of any type of, anyway, that's just funny. Kyle, let me get your thoughts on Ford Fairlane.
You want to talk about a movie that's a statement for a period of time? It's Ford Fairlane. Andrew Dice Clay was probably one of the hottest stand-up comics in the country. He was definitely probably the most controversial at the time. He had given himself a good bad boy rep out there too, even though maybe it didn't quite fit what he is in person. But this movie is such an interesting experiment too, because you have Dice Clay, and you are in this transition where the hair metal scene is changing.
Yeah.
And this movie reflects that, but it still reflects the old school music industry mentality and a lot of the things of the 80s as well. But you can feel the 90s overtones in it that Dice Clay brings involved with his character. And I think it's a great movie to watch as far as a transition film from one decade to another.
What I noticed too is that Wayne Newton is taking a villain role in films, because he was a sort of villain in was it the Living? No, it was Timothy Dalton's film License to Kill. Because he played that preacher guy that was like taking money and stuff like that. And then you get him as this villain as well. And Priscilla Presley just getting in the acting roles of doing like funny, weird characters. Of course, she's probably more famous for her roles, co-starring in Naked Gun films. But she still looked great. I thought it was fun. And Robert Englund, just good at playing weird and bad. He's the weird bad guy. Lacey.
Yeah, let's not forget Ed O'Neill with Booty Time.
Booty time across the USA.
Yeah, and the kid, he's he's gone on to, he's been in a bunch of stuff. Now I've lost his name. He played the kid, and now I can't remember what the kid's name was.
But Kyle, you wanted to talk about how hot Lauren Holly is?
There's never a time when Lauren Holly isn't hot, Kevin. Let's be
Hand to the Hand is when I first remember seeing her, and then she pops up in this, and I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah. Brandon Call was the actor who played the kid.
That's what it was. Yep.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that, like, at the end of the movie, like, what? You think we're gonna kill a koala bear? Come on.
Probably he was probably most famous for the show Step by Step, where he played JT Lambert on Step by Step.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, he did really well for himself after this. Yeah.
In a different world, I would love to have seen this film get a sequel. But one thing that it did for people was that it got you to see what it was like to be on top of the Capitol Records building, which is the most famous building in Los Angeles. It's been destroyed several thousand times in movies and whatever. But also, too, it brought the name Art Mooney back into popular fandom, and because the disc was hid under Art Mooney's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and Art Mooney is a real person, and you can also visit the real Art Mooney star there on the Walk of Fame, which I have done. But of course, he goes by Arthur Joseph Mooney. He passed away in 1993, and he was a big band guy, and people were like, who the hell is Art Mooney? Well, now we know who Art Mooney is, and now people visit his star because of Fort Fairlane. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go ahead and get to the next film, guys. We've got Ghost, little film here, made $500 million. Ghost, $517 million. After a young man is murdered, his spirit stays behind to warn his lover of impending danger with the help of a reluctant psychic. Director Jerry Zucker. Stars Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore, Whoopi Goldberg, and Tony Goldwyn. Kyle, give us some trivia on Ghost, please.
So the role of Oda Mae Brown was not written for Whoopi Goldberg, but Patrick Swayze was convinced she would be right for the part after seeing her one-woman Broadway show. Patrick knew something, and he rolled with it because, it was great for Whoopi. Patrick Swayze said that the pottery scene was the sexiest thing he had ever done on film, considering you just come off a Roadhouse. That's a pretty big statement. The film turned Demi Moore into the highest-paid actress in Hollywood at the time. Prior to this, while she was a well-known actress, she wasn't a bankable star. And Patrick Swayze explained why he did the film. I needed to do Ghost for my soul. I just come off Roadhouse and Next of Kin, and I didn't want to be considered just an action actor.
I would say he succeeded in that. Lacey, is that the DVD or 4K?
This is the DVD.
DVD, yeah.
At one point, I thought I had the Blu-ray, and I know I have the 4K around here somewhere, but I can't find the Blu-ray.
I thought I owned it, and I don't.
Yeah.
I streamed it to watch it, so it's kind of surprised I didn't own it. So, yeah. Kyle, give me your thoughts on Ghost.
This was the movie I don't think anybody truly saw coming like it came. It was...
Good point.
It had a great cast in it. It had some hype, but nobody saw what the phenomenon that Ghost was going to turn into. It was one of those movies that lasted forever in the theaters. Obviously, Oscar-winning performance from Whoopi Goldberg, Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore. I got to give a props out to Tony Goldwyn, too. One of the greatest jerk actors. And what I mean by that, he's always playing the jerk or the slimy guy, and he's so good at it.
You know,
this is one of those movies when you see it for the first time, and especially if you saw it in the theater when it first came out, you just knew there was something there. You were like, you just saw a movie that's going to be timeless and change things. And that's what Ghost did. And I mean, it's such an amazing performance. And in my personal opinion, still to this day, one of the top love stories on film.
I find... Oh, sorry. I thought you were done.
No, and just, amazing performances. Patrick Swayze was already a star. He became a superstar after this. It made Demi Moore a superstar. Whoopi Goldberg was already a star. This movie just elevated everybody to a whole new stratosphere.
You're absolutely about that. And Lacey, I want to get your comments on Ghost. And I want to remind people, because we've already talked about two other films that had to do with someone dying and their ghost coming back to assist people. Of course, we had Ghost Dad with Bill Cosby. But the one that we kind of liked, at least I did, it surprised me, was Heart Condition. The movie that was touted as a comedy, but was more of a drama, and that was one with Bob Hoskins and Denzel Washington. So there's this theme of ghosts coming back from the dead to help people, or staying dead to help people, and that's what we got here. And it works so well, and I guess it was sexy, right, Lacey?
Well, it went from the first one was a comedy, the second was a dramedy, this one was just a drama.
Yeah.
So, this was, this one was, it was huge. I just did the calculation, and it says that the gross 500 and change in 1990 is equivalent to $1.3 billion today. So it would have hit, end game numbers.
Yeah.
Just, as a comparative. And I gotta say, Tony Goldwyn, like, that man he's such a chameleon. Like, he's so good, and he plays like creepy, and he can play, like, there's a movie he did called Joshua, where he plays, they don't say it, but he basically plays the second coming of Christ in like a modern setting. And he's just like this sweet, nice, innocent guy who just, and then on Scandal, I mean, just he's
we covered him last year in The Sixth Day. He's the villain in that,
he gives just as good a villain as he gives like a good guy, and he's
so good,
and he's an onion. He's got them layers, Goldwyn, he's the heir to the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, studio.
Is that what we call Nepo baby?
I don't know that we would do that, because his predecessors were not actors.
Oh, and he was in the Pelican.
I think you have to be I think it has to be actor to actor. I don't know that it's necessarily like,
So Tony, he hit a certain role, like Kyle touched on, you touched on too.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that kind of maybe brought him into the fold a little bit more, into probably playing or to keep playing some villains and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you said something earlier, or touched on something earlier, Lacey, that I got to ask you about.
Yeah.
Especially from a girl's point of view here.
Sure.
So in the trivia that Kyle said, that Patrick Swayze said that this was like the sexiest thing he ever did with the pottery scene.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, ew, it's gross.
I don't think that his pottery scene was gross. I think that
but was the scene sexy for you though? That's what I'm wondering.
No, because realistically, and even then it was an issue, but now it's like more of an issue. When you say the term, like the words unwilling psychic. Okay, so basically he has hijacked Whoopi Goldberg's body and wants to make out with his wife. Okay, so I'm not trying to be a jerk, but like, this is a post-Me Too situation now. Watching it now is not the same as watching it.
I was referring to the actual scene, though, when he was there in person, to set up the relationship, and and then he's holding her, and then like the pot.
Yeah, no, but the whole time I'm like, that's not him. Like, she's like,
no, that was him.
No. In the beginning, it was him.
In the beginning. Okay, well,
when they return to it,
got it.
Technically there though, so that's
no, I'm not a fan of like messy, just in general in life.
Yeah, so 9.5 weeks, the refrigerator scene.
No,
I'm with you there.
no,
it's like,
no, thank you.
Kyle,
I'm not even talking about like messy things that are in sex scenes. I'm just saying, like, in general, if it looks like I'm gonna have to clean it up afterwards, I'm not gonna participate in that.
I get you, Kyle. You think it's sexy? You think that was the?
I think there is a certain level of eroticism to it, and I think it's very intense. But I think it's because of the chemistry between Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. They had some serious chemistry in this film.
They did. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next film is one that was kind of lost. Oh, Lacey, did you have one more quick thing to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say that there's a commentary by the director and the writer that's really good to listen to if you want to have some inside information, and it does talk in fair detail about Tony Goldwyn and a couple. But yeah, it's a good commentary to listen to if you're into that kind of thing.
The next film for me was kind of a lost comedy in my eyes because I never see it around VHS, DVD. It seemed to got lost in the ether, and that is Quick Change. Of course, made just about $15 million in its original theatrical run. Stars Bill Murray, Gina Davis, Randy Quaid, and Jason Robards. 3 thieves successfully rob a New York City bank, but making the escape from the city proves to be almost impossible. Directors were Howard Franken and, of course, Bill Murray stepped in a little bit there. That's probably an interesting story. Kyle, give us some trivia that might shed some light on that.
Yeah, this is the only film directed by Bill Murray. Debut theatrical film as a producer for actor comedian Bill Murray. The picture remains to date September 2013 as it's the only cinema movie where Murray has acted as a producer. While the idea of Bill Murray dressed as a clown in The Bank Heist comes from the original novel, the concept may have been inspired by famed bank robber Willie Sutton, who was called the actor because he would rob banks in a variety of costumes and disguises, such as a police officer, construction worker, mailman, etc.
I remember that. That might have been on Unsolved Mysteries, or it might have been on America's Most Wanted. I can't remember that, but I do remember that guy.
I don't think they should have called him the actor. They should have called him the village person.
Yeah, there you go. Or the chameleon, yeah.
I got one more thing. Several film critics reviewing the movie claimed that the film was one of actor Bill Murray's best performances.
I got to kind of agree with that. Lacey, you've got the Blu-ray. Where the hell did you get that?
Kino Lorber.
Of course you got it on Kino. Kino's awesome.
What? Actually, no, this might not be Kino. It's the WB Archive Collection.
Okay, all right.
Boom, boom.
So I actually watched this movie for the first time to prep for this movie. And I tried finding it streaming for free. Couldn't find it. So you know what I did? I just bought it digitally because I'm like, I need to watch this movie. I have a feeling about it. And my feeling was correct. Thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I think it's an underrated Bill Murray role. And I think there's really good chemistry with Gina Davis in this. Yep. Randy Quaid, I wanted to punch him in the mouth a few times, but that was the type of character that he was playing because he's the one that's causing the trouble of the getaway. And I thought the execution of the actual bank robbery was fantastic. It's fantastic. But of course, the real story is them trying to get away with the movie and hijinks happen. Kyle, do you remember this movie?
I do. I have not had a chance to watch it recently. I think it's interesting because it is a great Bill Murray performance, but it has kind of gotten lost in the ether because I think it's kind of one of those movies that I don't know if it's highly rewatchable. And I think a lot of people saw this and it wasn't quite what they were expecting from a Bill Murray movie at the time. And I think because he has so many other standout movies that come out around this time and plus his 80s bodywork, this is really kind of slipped into the ether in a way.
It has.
Even though it's got a great cast in it, but it's just not one of those movies that had ever. It was fun. It's fun. It has its great moments, but it doesn't have any of the like standout comedy scene moments that a lot of Bill Murray films do have.
I think the first half of the film is better than the second, but I really did enjoy the movie overall. Lacey, your thoughts on Quick Change?
The perfect double feature for this: The Real McCoy.
There you go. Kim Basinger. Yeah, right? Yeah.
Okay, so I dug this movie. It's so much fun. Bill Murray plays he does play 3 characters in this film, which is nice. You've got the clown, you've got the crazy I don't know, granola guy that comes out, with the thing, and then you've got his actual persona, which is kind of fun. I think Randy Quaid in this movie was playing Clifford the Big Red Dog. and but that's a compliment. Like he was the sweetest. He's so sweet. He's so innocent. But he is unlucky and he's clumsy, and that just keeps screwing things up.
And I like how he does subtle things, accidentally hitting the car horn when they're on the phone with Jason Robards, which gives him a clue of where they are not what they say there. So I thought it was a very clever, cat and mouse type movie as well. So
and I loved seeing Jason Robards as the cop, as opposed to prior to this, he played the con man in Max Dugan Returns, which is one of my favorite Jason Robards flick. Which So.
All right, guys. The next one is a movie that I refused to watch after I originally saw it in the theater. I had reasons, but I'm happy to say I picked it up on Blu-ray. I'm really happy that I did watch it again, and that's Arachnophobia. Made just over $53 million in its original run, released on July 18th. A new species of South American killer spider hitches a lift to a California town in a coffin and starts to breed, leaving a trail of deaths that puzzle and terrify young Dr. Ross Jennings, who is a newly arrived doctor in town with his family. Director is Frank Marshall. Stars Jeff Daniels, Julian Sands, and John Goodman. Kyle, give us some trivia on arachnophobia. And Lacey, hold up your Blu-ray there because I got one too.
For some reason, and I don't know why, the safety of the spiders was paramount throughout the entire production. So for one scene where McClintock, played by John Goodman, has to spray an arachnid with insecticide, then squash it with his boot, the production went to extreme measures. First, a dummy spider was sprayed. Then Goodman donned his special boots with a hollowed-out sole for the squash shot, so the spider would just curl up inside and wait for the next take. Yeah, spiders. The animatronic general spider scene at the film's climax was one of the earliest prop jobs done by Jamie Heineman, star and co-producer of Mythbusters. And then these small spiders used in the film were Avondale spiders, a harmless species from New Zealand that were provided by Landcare Research in Auckland. Despite their fierce appearance, the spider is a docile member of the crab spider family and is in fact harmless to humans. They were not allowed back in New Zealand for quarantine reasons. The giant spider used in the film was a species of bird-eating tarantula, which can attain a leg span of 8 inches or more. Those types of tarantulas are not easy to handle and can give a nasty bite. The spiders in the film were managed and handled by famed entomologist Stephen R. Kutcher.
Go Stephen R. Kutcher. Ugh, Lacey.
Interesting information about tarantulas. If you hold them on your palm, they can't bite you. If they have something above them, they press their back into whatever's above them to make their fangs come out. They have to have something above them to actually be able to. Yeah, so that's why if they say if you catch if you're trying to get one out of your house, when you pick it up with a piece of paper, but don't ever put your hand above it because it can bite you.
I'm not like deathly afraid of spiders, but this movie, I just remember it not sitting well with me and it creeped me out. And I just refused to return to this movie. I just never wanted to see it again. Now Time Warp 1990 comes around. I'm going, all right, I guess I'm going to have to give it a chance. And I actually ended up buying it off eBay, or maybe it was, I forgot where I got it, but I got the Blu-ray that you got. And I'm like, I got to watch this again because it's got a great poster too. I love that poster. And I got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I really did.
I did too.
What I liked, I love the setup of this movie. I love how they're down there in South America or whatever it is, and someone dies from a bite. They put their body in a coffin, and the spider basically hitches a ride and then finds its way to the small town that Jeff Daniels is trying to, make it as a new doctor. And everybody hates him because he's a fancy doctor from the big city. He's not the small time guy, and he's trying to do things. And there's I find all the secondary characters like that annoying woman that hates him. And then John Goodman is just this crazy, insect guy, or was it exterminator? Lacey.
Yeah. No, I agree. Everything. Yes. But the same thing. I refused to see this movie ever. I saw this for the first time, and I'm telling you, when I tell you that I've had this movie for.
So you just watched it for the first time?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I gotta tell you, like, I remember seeing, because at the time when this came out, I was an usher in a movie theater. Okay, at the AMC at Galleria, and so oftentimes we would be asked to go in and ask somebody to be quiet or to, go in. And when you're at the very end, you have to go stand inside and wait for the credits so that you can start sweeping up and everything. And this is the one where I saw maybe like 3 or 5, 10, maybe 10 seconds of it. And I was like, nope. And I refused to clean that theater. Like I would swap with people so I didn't have to go stand in the back and wait for the end to be over. And I watched it. I put it off. I had all these movies set to go.
It was like me. Put it off too.
The past 2 weeks, I have literally gotten ready to watch this, and I refused to watch it at night. I wanted to watch it during the day because otherwise, I have to watch more movies afterwards. I have to take a shower and watch 3 Disney movies after I watch this movie. So I'd be able to sleep. And I cracked up. I watched this movie. It was so funny. It was not as scary as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, same here.
The music The score to this film is fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
It tells you exactly how to feel. It's the tradition of the 90s, like with the scores in the 90s that really did say like, da-da-da, time to feel the scary, time to go. So it was nice. And I really liked it. I would watch this again. I was not expecting to like this movie.
Yeah, it's a keeper for me. This
Yeah.
is like whenever I do these time warps and I'm on the, I have not seen the film, or I'm like, I'm going to wait to discuss it and watch it, and I'll decide whether I'm going to keep it and donate it, back to the thrift store or whatever like that. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to keep this movie. It's a good one. Kyle, your thoughts on Arachnophobia?
So I saw this in the theater back in the day. I'm not a huge spider guy, and spiders are one of the things that can kind of get a little creepy, but this movie was so much fun. This is one that was on HBO a lot in the rotation after it hit in the theaters. It's a fun Jeff Daniels performance. Julian Sands is great, but John Goodman in this movie is so hilarious as this over-the-top exterminator. And what's great about this movie, yes, it's meant to be scary, but it doesn't take you to that over-the-top thing. But what it really does well is it kind of plays on people's fears and misunderstandings of spiders. Yeah. And it does it in a fun way. And this is just as much, it's a comedy horror film. And it has fun with what it does. Is it a movie that I go back and revisit on a regular basis? No, but if I catch it on TV, I'm probably going to watch it at least for a little bit because it is so much fun. And it's, again, Julian Sands is great in it. Jeff Daniels is great in it. It's a great cast. It's a fun movie of the time.
Speaking of cast, though, I do want to make a couple comments, Kyle. We've brought her up before in a recent, was it Side Out? Harley Jane Kozak. Yes. Underrated, hottie, cutie, actress. Absolutely adore her. And I think the older lady that didn't like Jeff Daniels was that Kathy Kinney. That might have been the actress, but yeah, great overall. And rest in peace, Julian Sands, by the way. So Lacey, you had a quick comment you want to say?
I was going to bring up somebody, and I can't remember what it was going to be. I might, it's completely, I was going to say, I think I might be adding this to my Halloween roster. Like I might actually start watching this around Halloween every year. This is a
good
really
call. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a keeper for, I'm really happy about that. It's amazing how I was afraid to watch this movie again. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. I will say that if I had watched it 20 or 30 years ago, I probably would not have rewatched it. Gotcha. It probably would have scared me way more back then. But yeah.
All right. The next film, it's interesting. I got a little story about this one. It's called Midnight Ride. Okay. And this is about a housewife that just left her cop husband when she picks up Justin McKay that she wished she never did. And she's plunged into a nightmare and the grip of a psychotic killer. Directed by Rob Bravler. Stars Michael Dudikoff, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, Savina Gersick, and a special appearance by Robert Mitchum. Now, I'm showing the poster here, guys, and Michael Dudikoff is front and center, and then you see the evil grinning Mark Hamill wearing a cop's outfit because he does masquerade as a cop in this. And there's like a bus crash and stuff like that. It's very late 80s, early 90s VHS box art. And I actually have the DVD right here. I think I picked this up in Australia at this cool DVD place that I like because it had Michael Dudikoff in it and had Mark Hamill in it. I'm like, those guys started a movie together? No way. And then I found out, it's a 1990 film as well. Perfect. Kill two birds with one stone. So I waited to watch it for Time Warp this month. It's a foreign language version of this movie. But it's really a foreign language film because when I turned it on, the only languages that you could listen to it in were in French and Italian. There is no English language version of this track on this film. So I had to listen to someone else's interpretation of Mark Hamill. And Mark Hamill goes off crazy killer in this. So he's like pulling off his Joker vocal stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's channeling his inner Joker in this film.
He is. And it's so weird. It actually got me kind of sad too, because he's still young enough to play like, a Luke Skywalker a few years later. We could have gotten that sequel. And Michael Dudikoff, of course, he plays the good guy in this. But what's interesting, there's a famous scene in this film where Mark Hamill's psychotic killer, he like kills a cop basically, and he takes over his outfit. But he ties Michael Dudikoff to the hood of the car. with his facing up, but his head towards traffic. And he's like doing this, like, trying to scare the crap out of him. And it's working. And he like bumps up against cars in the night, trying to, knock off his head. It's a very crazy, silly film. Even I think I ended up watching it in French just because I didn't want to listen to it in Italian or whatever it was. Because French, I like the French language more. Not a good film.
Did it have subtitles at least?
No.
Oh wow.
Excuse me. Yes, but not in English.
Of course. Kevin, you know why this is, right? Though
why?
Because it's not an official Michael Dudikoff film because it wasn't made by Canon Films.
Incorrect. It was.
Was it?
No, really?
It is a Canon film.
Awesome.
I was gonna bring that up, Kyle. I'm watching it going Canon Films. I'm like, oh, that makes sense now. So yeah. Anyway, you guys can pass if you want to, but I would be curious if there is a DVD or there's probably a VHS out there somewhere.
Well, I'm happy.
You just see Mark Hamill just cooking as the villain, and I got to give it to him for that because he went all out on it. So,
well, if you want to, you can bring it with you in November, and I'll watch it with you in French and translate for you.
I kind of got the gist when I was watching it, but I appreciate the offer. So yeah. But that is, of course, Midnight Ride. There you go. All right. Next, we have The Freshman. This came out in 1990. Made not much money for the stars that are in this. Made just over $21 million. It's a comedy. A NYC film student accepts a job with a local mobster who resembles a famous cinema godfather and who takes the young man under his wing after demanding total loyalty. Directors Andrew Bergman. Of course, stars Marlon Brando, Matthew Broderick, Bruno Kirby, and Penelope Ann Miller. Kyle, there's some interesting trivia on this film, and you're holding up the Blu-ray, Lacey. I just got the cheesy DVD.
Nice.
I just have one comment before I start the trivia. The trivia of this movie is more interesting than the actual movie.
Oh, I love this movie. You shut your mouth.
I'm going to agree with Kyle on that. Go ahead, Kyle. Give us some trivia.
Okay. During post-production, Marlon Brando publicly condemned the film and claimed it would be the biggest turkey of all time. This was because Brando asked for an additional $1 million when the shoot was extended an extra week. When the producers refused, he threatened to badmouth the film in the press. They still refused, and he followed through with his threat. The following day, the producers paid him the money, and he publicly praised the film. Yeah.
This is not the first time he's done that, by the way.
Yeah. According to Marlon Brando's autobiography, he, Matthew Broderick, Bruno Kirby, and Rocco Muschina went out to eat in New York and came across real-life mafia boss John Gotti. Brando reportedly attempted to break the ice with a magic trick, but an awkward joke at Gotti's expense forced Brando and company to leave.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. The film was released the same year as The Godfather Part 3, the last film from that trilogy. Brando had played Vito Corleone, the title character from the first film in the series, and had won an Oscar for the role. In The Freshman, Brando engages in self-parody of the character.
So I do want to pull back a little bit. I mean, I'm not a fan of this film, and I'll be honest with you, I actually just watched it for the first time. I never had the urge to watch it before. But Penelope Ann Miller, crossed my mind of why I wanted to watch this film. But honestly, the best character in this movie is Bruno Kirby's character. Bruno is actually really good in this movie, and he saved it. And I loved his character in this movie because he's kind of like the younger up and coming kind of mob, I don't know what you want to call him.
Made guy.
Made guy. Yeah. He was absolutely phenomenal in this movie, but that was really the only thing that I liked about that other than seeing Penelope on the screen because I'm a big fan of hers. Lacey, you're a bigger fan of this movie apparently than we are. Why?
I love this movie. It's so much fun. Okay. So first of all, let's not forget Frank Whaley.
Frank Wally. I always call him Frank Wally Jr. Is that wrong?
He says Whaley.
He says Whaley? Okay.
Yeah. But no, so as the best friend, the film student, that's hilarious. He's so much fun. And also nice little fun little secondary character, BD Wong.
Yeah, that's
great show for him. Now, I feel like this film is the fourth installment of one character for Matthew Broderick. I think it starts with Max Dugan Returns, where he plays Michael McPhee, where he sees that his the grandfather, and then it goes into War Games with David He's got some crazy stuff happening. He's almost declaring, nuclear war. Then he's still in high school, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And then he goes to college. And this is I feel like this character is a compilation of the 3 characters from War Games.
I can't argue with that, Lacey, because I really wanted a sequel to Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but more of like either he's older.
Like he grew up a little bit.
He grew up. He's at a job, like he's at like some New York job he doesn't like. He transferred to New York or something, and similar stuff happens, but just as funny. This movie. The thing that I didn't like about this movie, there's things that like when stuff keeps going wrong and it's just not happening and it's getting tough to watch. And I don't know. It didn't hit. Like I said, the only person that I liked was Bruno Kirby in this. But I see where you're going. That's actually a good little, because you're seeing him growing up. And so you see that. Kyle, your thoughts on The Freshman. Why did you not like it?
It just didn't connect with me. You see Brando playing a parody of himself. When it comes to Matthew Broderick, I love Matthew Broderick, but there's just times with certain films of his that I just can't connect with him. He's just the way he's being the character he's playing and whatever. And I didn't really have a big desire to see this movie in the first place. When I finally saw it, I was like, okay, but I mean, it's just that it exists for me. And so sorry, Lacey.
Yeah. No, it's totally cool. I think it's fun. I think that I think everyone plays their roles. Like you said, I love Bruno Kirby in this. And Penelope Ann Miller, this is one of the kind of the top 3 for me for her, including
she's on a roll. She's on a roll here. We're going to see her in Kindergarten Cop soon, and I mean, she's her star is rising.
The Shadow.
Yeah. Cute as a button too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, guys, we're going to next talk about the best movie ever made, period, on the planet. It's totally rewatchable. And of course, that is Navy frickin' SEALs, baby. Made just under $25 million in its theatrical run. A battle-hardened SEAL team set off on a mission to destroy a shipment of U.S.-built Stinger missiles and have fallen into terrorist hand. Lacey, we both got the Blu-ray action here. Now, did you do what I did? Did you also have the DVD and do the little Blu-ray DVD combo?
Yes,
yes, we did. Oh, wait. That's because my Blu-ray is playing right now.
My Blu-ray is upstairs right now, too.
Kyle is so jealous of us right now. He wishes that he can hold this and kiss it and call his little buddy. He wishes he could just do this.
I just plug in my VR headset and I'm right there with him. That's all I'm saying, guys.
Kyle and we adore this film. Lacey, I know you adore this film. Director's Louis Teague, who has his fair share of movies, good films, starring, of course, Charlie Sheen, Michael Biehn, Joanne Whalley, Bill Paxton, Lacey's movie crush of all time, Rick Rossovich, and Dennis Haysbert as well. Kyle, give us some trivia before we go into this.
Okay, before we go into this, though, there is something I need to say. Way back in the day, TNT used to have a thing called Movies for Guys Who Like Movies.
Yep.
I remember that.
This is the ultimate definition of one of those movies.
Oh, yes. You know what? I could put this under my pillow at night and just sleep with it if I wanted to.
Yeah.
This is how
you do. Don't. Let's be honest. Okay, we got some trivia here for you guys. Originally, the men were going to play touch football, but thank you, Bill Paxton, because you were the man and you still are the man. Bill Paxton felt the scene was too similar to the volleyball scene in Top Gun. So
hold on. I find this funny because in Top Gun Maverick, they play a version of football, which is funny. Go ahead.
So he suggested they play golf instead. Most of the golf sequence was, in fact, directed by Paxton with a second unit crew. One of the funnest scenes in this movie. Yep.
By the way, can I just say real quick, I've actually played golf on that golf course.
Right on.
Yeah, I'll talk more about the filming location in a second.
I love Michael Biehn, but there are times I worry about him that he has no fun factor. Because in a 2012 interview, Michael Biehn stated that working on this film was probably the worst experience of my life. He stated, we wanted to make a really good movie, and it really turned out to be kind of a mishmash and not a very good movie at all. The script could have been shaped to be so much better. You just hate to see all that talent and passion go to waste.
I don't know what he's talking about. This movie's like perfection. It's the best movie ever made. I'm just saying.
Much of the filming took place in and around Norfolk, Virginia, home of the world's largest naval fleet. The production crew was able to shoot key scenes in such restricted areas as the Norfolk base and its training grounds. And finally, Chief Dave, one of the several real-life SEALs who would later play themselves in the film Act of Valor, cites this film as his introduction to the world of SEALs and inspired him to join them, which, in fact, Navy SEALs is actually just a Navy SEALs recruitment film.
It is. That is a true thing. And if you ever seen Act of Valor, he is a real Navy SEAL with Navy real SEALs just doing a movie and a fake mission. And
my friend Gary was in Act of Valor.
What's that?
My friend Gary was in Act of Valor.
Oh, cool. Very cool. What did Gary think of Navy SEALs? Do you know?
We haven't chatted about it. I just know that he was in it.
Okay. Well, I think you need to, because I want to know what he thinks. But what's interesting, though, is I have heard from Navy people that they have seen this film, and it was one of the reasons why they either wanted to get into the Navy or get into Special Forces. I've heard this before.
Because this movie made Navy SEALs seem cool. And they are, but this movie made them like, oh my God, this is the thing to do if you're the man's man.
So Navy SEALs, it was a thing that was out there. They were very secretive. We got, of course, we got Navy SEALs, and of course we got Delta Force with Chuck Norris. But we knew about Navy SEALs because we were hearing about them on the news, but they were secret. Richard Marcinko, famous for starting SEAL Team 6 and Red Cell, and famous author about doing, talking about his missions with the Navy SEALs. But this was the first movie that actually made a movie about the Navy SEALs with a great cast. Lacey, you had some thoughts?
I was going to also include G.I. Jane and Hawaii Five-0, because in both iterations of Hawaii Five-0, McGarrett is actually a former Navy SEAL.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Also, Sam on LL Cool J's character on NCIS is a cool Navy SEAL character that people seem to really like. Which
the closest thing I remember getting some, like, your television series. I remember the episode of was it Magnum PI, because he's they show, I guess, some flashbacks to when he was in Vietnam, and there was some ties to that as well.
Yeah.
But when it came to Special Forces, the first one I do remember seeing, Kyle, and we've covered it here, of course, on Couch Potato Theater, is the one we did with Dan Hadley.
That was it. The
final option, or Who Dares Wins. That was like the first time you saw like real Special Forces on television working together, and seeing Americans do it on Navy SEALs was just a huge deal for us, that wanted to see what it was like, what they go through. What's funny now is when you watch when you look at it now, the trained eye on how they're like handling certain things and doing stuff, it was very rudimentary regarding action movies done in the 80s, where nowadays a lot of the TV stars and movie stars go through actual real training. You can see it like within on screen. And a good example was that my wife and I just finished, I did a rewatch, but she watched it for the first time, Chris Pratt in The Terminal List. And he's a Navy SEAL type Special Forces guy. And you can tell that Chris Pratt went through a lot of training, especially the way that he handles.
You got to remember, he also went through a lot of training for Zero Dark 30.
Exactly. So he knows he's going to. But this was one of those great special missions films. And I wanted to touch on the filming location. So this movie's filmed in and around, most of it for the Navy SEAL stuff, in and around Norfolk, Virginia. Well, I used to live and work in that area for 6 years when I was working for Decipher Games, which was based out of Norfolk, Virginia. And the famous bridge that Charlie Sheen jumps over, I used to ride over that all the time. And every time I went over that, I was just like, I'm not going to be part of this. What does he say? I'm not going to be part of this. What does he say? Funeral, because he's calling the soon-to-be wedding of Dana Haysbert's character a funeral. And my friends who I was with would get the reference and stuff like that. And I've actually played golf at that golf place that they did there as well, because I used to do that with some of my friends there at the working place. But I think the end battle scene was filmed, I want to say, in Portugal, I think, even though they did a really good job of making it look like the Middle East. I love the final battle scene of this. One of my favorite, I'm not going to call it a guilty pleasure anymore. It's just one of the best movies ever made, Kyle.
Yeah, there you go. That pretty much sums it up. I mean, this is such a fun cast. You would think that from the way they were portrayed on it, they would have had a blast filming this movie. It's maybe everybody else but Michael Biehn did, but this is just one of those movies that, again, you pop it in anytime, you're gonna have fun. You find it on cable, you're gonna have fun. You just take Navy SEALs for what it is, and you enjoy it. And anybody who talks Navy SEALs, get a life. Just get to find your funness again, please.
Lacey, we were having a quick discussion before we started recording that I felt there's certain people that can pull off mustaches and there's certain people that cannot. And I said Dennis Haysbert, he pulls off the mustache, but Bill Paxton does not. And you said it was because, well, it might have been more acceptive, but of course he played a creepy role with a mustache on True Lies.
The role he played with that mustache
comedic role.
True Lies, it really did kind of nix anytime. I can't see Paxton with a mustache and not think of the skeezy car salesman that's just like scamming on chicks. Like I just can't. It's such a good character, you know.
Just a quick comment and question to you. So as we wrap up Navy SEALs here, so this is such a guy film. Why do you like it?
Well, first of all, I disagree with that entirely because last I checked, I had all the female parts. I
love you for that. I love you for that comment.
Right. I will say I have a huge respect for our armed forces. With caveats, I can't watch a lot of like hardcore in war movies. I don't like gore. I don't like but if it's a storyline about a mission or something like that, I think this is a really good visual of what our armed forces do and what kind of training they go through, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not too long ago, about I guess 8 or 9 years ago, I got the chance to listen to a speech, a presentation by Matt Bissonette, I think it's his last name. He wrote No Easy Day under the pen name Mark Owen, and we had to sign like all kinds of things. We couldn't bring our phones in and all this kind of stuff. It was a fascinating.
Well, I'm lost. What was this regarding Navy SEALs?
Oh, he was on SEAL Team 6 that took out. And he was
Bin Laden. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, he writes about it in his book, No Easy Day, and he was also on the Captain Phillips mission.
Oh wow.
But yeah, like he actually brought like there were like maps and like it was a really interesting. But we couldn't take our phones in, and then basically he was like, at the very beginning, the person he came up to introduce him was like, okay, here's the deal. If we see you with a phone, we're not going to be mad, but you will be leaving. Yeah. And your feet will not be on the ground.
Did he ever comment about Navy SEALs?
No, we didn't talk anything.
Okay.
He was very.
That would have been my first question. Did you see Navy SEALs? You know?
we were able to meet him for a moment afterwards, and it was something that was put on by Morgan Stanley.
That's fine.
And so they knew everyone's name beforehand. So he actually like personalized and signed a book for everyone who attended. It was really interesting. He did it beforehand. That's cool. Which was really cool. So, but he was like brought in and then brought out, and I think that's kind of cool. And so Navy SEALs is definitely one of those ones that I'm going to watch. Yeah.
I'm sure that he thinks this is the best movie ever made too. So that's good. I'm going to take a bet on that. So, but
right on.
Absolutely. I think it's on the short list of a Couch Potato Theater, and I'm sure we would have.
Oh yeah. Well, we will be doing something very special for that for Couch Potato Theater.
All right, guys.
Very
the
cool.
next film I could not find for the life of me. I even went to Australia to find it because it is an Australian film and it stars some famous people in it from Australia. Prisoners of the Sun, also known as Blood Oath, and I believe that is Australian name, Blood Oath. And so it's about the island of Ambon in Indonesia in 1945 during World War II. The number of Australian POWs on the island had dropped from 1,100 to less than 300 due to abuses by the Japanese captors. Captain Cooper is the chief prosecutor. In a mass grave, the bodies of 300 executed servicemen have been unearthed. Cooper assumes that the massacre was ordered by Baron Takahashi, Japanese commander of Ambon. Now, I just want to bring this to the table that the lead stars of this is Brian Brown, of course. Russell Crowe. Remember Russell Crowe? Terry O'Quinn. And then the Japanese commander is played by George Takei. Mm-hmm. And so I was looking at things. Should I put this on the list? I'm just going to put it out there. I want to find this film. Couldn't find it streaming anywhere. I went to everywhere I could. I even asked people at JB Hi-Fi, which is like the Best Buy of Australia. Do you guys have this film? Like, no. I went to the used places, couldn't find it. So I don't know where I can find this. Eventually, I do want to see that. Kyle, give us some quick trivia on this.
Yeah, the war crimes trial and other events portrayed in the film are based off the recollections of Captain John Williams, the Australian prosecutor during the war crimes trial on Ambon and on official records. The trial was a significant one for Australia, convened due to the fact that the 3/4 of the Australian captured on Ambon died before the war's end. Most of the Japanese characters are based on real Japanese soldiers. 93 Japanese soldiers were tried and 4 were executed for their mistreatment of soldiers and civilian prisoners. This debut, like you said, Kevin, was the debut of Russell Crowe. It was also the debut of feature film actress Deborah Kara Unger, who played Sister Littell and was billed as Deborah Unger.
Yeah, so theatrical debut of Russell Crowe and, of course, Deborah Kara Unger, who, of course, I remember mostly. It was Highlander as well as Payback. It was Highlander 4, I think she was in that. Yeah, I think it was her. But yeah, couldn't find it. Don't know anything about it. So there you go.
I would be interested to hear what George Takei has to say about this, because
exactly
he grew up partially in one of the American Japanese internment camps, and so playing the other side of that must have been, I mean,
he was the reason.
A lot going on, you know what I mean? Like that had to be like a tough play.
Yeah. Knowing that story, because if you're a Star Trek fan, you've heard that story. He's talked about it.
Yeah.
Knowing that he was in it was the reason why I actually put this on the list, because I want to try to find this movie one day, and I do want to see it. So if you've seen it, let us know. Hit us up on social media. Okay. Next film, guys, we have Problem Child, made just over $72 million. The poster says Attila the Hun, Ivan the Terrible, Al Capone, they were all 7 once. Problem Child, a young boy just short of a monster, is adopted by a loving man and his wacky wife. The laughs keep coming as he pushes them to the limits. Directed by Dennis Dugan, stars Michael Oliver, John Ritter, Jack Warden, Amy Yazbek, and Gilbert Gottfried. And you are holding up the DVD. I had trouble finding this, Lacey. Let me see that real quick.
This is the double feature, the Tantrum Pack. It's the first and second film. Now, there are 4 of these.
Yeah. I love that it's called the Tantrum Pack. That's funny.
Yeah. Wow.
Nice.
So bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I love John Ritter. Like, unrealistic. I adore him. He was amazing. This is awful. This has animal cruelty. There is a point where
the poster's showing a cat in a washing machine.
There's literally at one point in time, his babysitter and her boyfriend shows up, and like he puts the video camera in the room and videotapes them while they're having sex and puts it on a screen on the outside of the house. And when they come home from dinner, there's like all the guys from the local bowling team are like sitting outside, like laughing and drinking beer and watching this giant, like, what?
You know, it's funny. I've actually never seen this film.
Don't.
I was tempted to purchase it and watch it, and I just had a feeling about it. Like, nah.
This was $4 for the 2-pack. I don't feel bad about it, but
Kyle, are you covering your cat's ears? I don't want him to hear this.
These are horrible movies. They're horrible for a lot of reasons. But Kevin, the biggest problem I have with this, when I look at the kid, I think, well, this is the kid who should be Chucky if they ever had made Chucky an actual human being.
Well, and, don't forget Michael Kramer.
Michael Richards.
Richards was this kid as a child, as like a 5-year-old. He becomes a pen pal for a serial killer who is in prison, who breaks out of prison and then comes to find the kid because he's like, I want to be partners with you one day. What?
You know what? You're not selling me on this movie, so thank you for watching it for me. But Kyle, you have some trivia on this movie.
The second one was even worse. Yes, I watched them both.
Throughout the film, Ben reads several self-help books on parenting. Each book features a photo of the author on the back cover. The author's photos are John Ritter in various costumes. This mirrored in Problem Child 2 when LaWanda D'Amour's photos of previous husbands are all Ritter in costume. Of course, in 1999, Ritter and Amy Yazbek married in real life. Here's the interesting one. The role of Junior was originally meant for Macaulay Culkin. Culkin would go on to play a devilish child in The Good Son.
1993, yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to watch it now. So thanks, Lacey.
This kid has only been in. He did 3 movies. He did this one, the second one, and then I can't remember what the third one was. But I was like, oh, okay, well, so that's what he did. He's done. He didn't. I think he just maybe made college money and then quit acting. I don't know.
All right, we have one more movie to round out the movies of July of 1990, and I think it's a good one here. We've got Presumed Innocent, thriller suspense movie, and its theatrical run did all right, made $221 million. Lacey and I think we have the same DVD. There you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually ended up finding it in a thrift store, so I got lucky with that. Harrison Ford, some people would kill for love, says the poster. Presumed innocent is always dangerous to presume. A lawyer investigates the murder of a colleague. He finds himself more connected to the crime than anyone else. Directed by Alan J. Pakula, stars Harrison Ford, Raul Julia, Greta Scacchi, Brian Dennehy, Bonnie Bedelia, and Paul Winfield. Kyle, give us some trivia on Presumed Innocent.
Yeah, Harrison Ford's hair was cut in such a way as to make him look more stiff and unlikable than his previous leading man characters. Kevin Costner and Robert Redford turned down the role of Rusty Sabich, played by Harrison Ford. Paul Winfield read the novel in the late 80s and loved it, telling his agent that if a movie was ever made, he had to have the role of the judge. A few years later, when the movie was actually in pre-production, Winfield campaigned hard for the part of the judge, impressing director Alan J. Pakula, and who auditioned him and eventually casted him. Making love to Harrison Ford might have been the stuff of female fantasies, but Greta Scacchi found the filming humiliating. Some little tricks happened with the camera angles, and there was more nudity than I would have liked.
All right. Okay, so I got to tell you guys a little funny story. So I have not seen this movie probably since the 90s. I may have watched it again. I did see this in the theater because it's Harrison Ford. I'm going to see it, right? I couldn't remember the plot twist at all. I couldn't remember any of it, and I wanted to see this film, and it was streaming, I think, on Amazon, but I also had it on Blu-ray, and I was trying to watch it while I was in Australia with my wife, but we were kind of like going in between TV shows, so we never ended up like watching it together. And so I come back here to California. She's still in Australia, and I am talking about, we're going to be podcasting on Time Warp, and I'm going to finally finish watching Harrison Ford in Presumed Innocent. And I don't remember any of the plot line at all. What does she go? She goes, oh yeah, I think it was the wife. And I'm like, what? She's like, oh, I thought you knew. And I'm like, I don't remember the movie. I'm like watching this movie for the first time. And of course we find out that it's Bonnie. Spoiler alert. Yeah, Bonnie Bedelia is the one that ended up killing the woman because he finds the hammer when he's trying to fix the yard, because the case goes unsolved after Harrison Ford's character is exonerated.
Acquitted, exonerated,
yeah. But I want to mention something about this film. I enjoyed this film. I thought it was very good. But the standout for me, and man, it just makes me miss him, is Raul Julia. He plays a defense attorney in this, and we were in a Raul Julia run here when you guys think about it, because he does Tequila Sunrise in '88. He did Moon Over Parador prior to that. Mm-hmm. But then he does Presumed Innocent. He does Frankenstein Unbound, which we're going to talk about later in the year. Then he does The Rookie, where he's the villain in that with Sheen and Clint Eastwood. Then he does Havana, also in '90, which we're going to talk about later. He's got 4 films that he does in '90. He did a film in '89, and then in '91 he does The Addams Family, which we all adore him in, right? Then we get him doing Addams Family 2, Family Value, and then of course he does Street Fighter, and we know that he was sick with, I believe it was pancreatic cancer, and you can see him being thinner, but he really wanted to finish that film because I think his kids are fans of it and stuff like that. But I felt like we really missed out on him doing on some great roles before he, if he wouldn't have gotten sick. He was so good in this film. I would have given him an Oscar nomination in this. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I thought it was a good movie. I love that, Harrison Ford wasn't necessarily a great guy. He was cheating on his wife, and stuff happened. So yeah. Lacey, your thoughts on Presumed Innocent?
I enjoyed it. I gotta tell you, man, I think that the stillness with which Bonnie Bedelia played her character is like, I would put her up against Glenn Close's
Fatal Attraction?
Fatal Attraction.
Oh no, wait.
Or
okay.
What?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I thought you were going to go with Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct.
Well, that was going to be the end of the sentence, but yeah. So I would put her up against Glenn Close's Fatal Attraction or Sharon Stone's Fatal Instinct. This woman slept with her husband, saved necessary fluids, went to her husband's ex-lover's home, knocked on the door, just like invited herself in, had a conversation, cracks her over the head, and then
with a hammer axe, actually, yeah.
Right? She plants the evidence like in the other woman, and
she's setting up her husband.
She sets up her husband, and then after everything, wow, like she's so the last scene, she's so quiet and so reserved, and she's very.
I had this movie spoiled to me by my wife. I intensely watched Bonnie Bedelia in this, like in all the scenes, even when she's not talking, when she's in court, trying to get some type of reaction from her. And she played it so well and so often. I'm like, wait a minute, maybe my wife isn't remembering correctly, because I don't remember the hammer scene at the end. So yeah, it was. Kyle, your thoughts on Presumed Innocent?
Sorry, really quick.
Oh yeah,
Jesse Bradford, one of his first movie roles.
Jesse as the young son,
the son, yeah. This
Jesse Bradford,
movie, yeah.
Was it Clockers, the time travel film, adventure film he did?
Clock Stoppers.
There we go.
Directed by Jonathan Frakes.
Frakes, yeah. Mm-hmm. Kyle,
great movie, incredibly intense film, and you guys have hit all the key points. Another one of those movies, though. Do you really root for anybody in this film? They've all got a little damaged.
Brian Dennehy wasn't a good guy, but you root for Raul Julia, because we find out Paul Winfield is kind of a corrupt judge,
And we also have to think about the fact that the woman who died, I mean, I know this is 1990, okay, and women were not necessarily painted in the best of light, but the woman who died had slept with literally half of the cast.
Yeah, yes.
It was one of those things where it was like, I mean, are you doing that to make her to like widen the pool of suspects, or are you just saying like she's a slut, she deserved to die? Like it was like a very
that's the genius of this film, is it's painting both sides of that picture,
right?
And it makes you think like, oh, you're almost forgetting about who actually killed her, because of what's happening. And then did Bonnie Bedelia's character, was it just because she was sleeping with her husband that she's doing this, or is she finding out all the other stuff? So yeah, it's a great courtroom drama movie as well. So yeah. All right, guys, anything else on Presumed Innocent?
No.
I'm presumed guilty.
Presumed Innocent. There you go. All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap things up. Okay, so I asked the question, since we've been doing the 90s fun here. As we know, the big question is, these movies were released in 1990 but filmed in 1989 or earlier. Which of these films felt like 80s films, and which one felt like 90s films? Who wants to go first? Kyle, what you got there, buddy?
I think there's two films that feel like 89 films, and that's Die Hard 2 and Navy SEALs.
Wait. Is it like 80s? I'm talking about 80s or 90s feel in general.
Yeah.
You're saying those two.
Navy SEALs and Die Hard 2 have that 80s feel to it.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
I think Ghost, and I think, curiously enough, Arachnophobia have a 90s feel to them.
Yeah. Presumed Innocent too, I think, could slide into 90s. It sounds like Lacey, Problem Child is definitely 80s.
Problem Child was definitely 80s. I feel like Quick Change could be kind of like right at that cusp. Like I feel like it was the especially like her costuming, Gina Davis's costuming, I feel like that was more of an 80s.
Yeah.
Her vibe was more 80s. I think
there's a lot of 80s vibe fashion in Presumed
Yeah.
Innocent. I'll tell you that right now.
But I think that the Freshman and Ford Fairlane are both 90s for me.
I definitely. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah, I definitely
mhm.
could feel that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
And whatever that TV show we were talking about earlier, Open House or Open Up or House Out or whatever.
Open
it's
House,
called.
yep.
Open House. The picture on that was 90s fashion in a snapshot. It was insane.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, final thoughts, guys, on this July of 1990 films. It was some interesting, some definitely some big hitters there. Kyle?
A very interesting group of 1990s films. And also, too, even though it was July, outside of Ghost, none of these felt like huge summer movies. You know, none of them had that blockbuster feel to them that you would
Except
think
maybe
of normally.
Die Hard
Die Hard
2.
2.
Maybe
Yeah.
Die Hard 2. But even that, I mean, you just don't, you go back and you look at this and you don't, this is not your typical summer blockbuster fare for July. And I think that's a kind of indication of how things were starting to change a little bit in the night.
I felt like Ghost stayed in the theater for months too, and that's helped with its box office tail, I guess, as they call it. So yeah, yeah. Lacey, your final thoughts on this month?
I'm really glad I saw Arachnophobia.
Me too.
And I really do love The Freshman. I know everybody's like, meh, but I think it's
That's exactly how I sounded.
Yeah, you were like a pterodactyl having a child. But I do think that the Freshman is, you know, if I was going to pick three of these, it would be Die Hard, The Freshman, and Arachnophobia.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got next month, guys. We have, of course, we've been discussing, of course, the movies of 1990 on this episode, but we're going to tease what's happening next month, and that is August of 1990, guys. We've got Young Guns 2, Mo Better Blues, Air America, Flatliners, Two Jakes, Exorcist the Third, My Blue Heaven, Taking Care of Business, Wild at Heart, Pump Up the Volume, Laser Mission, Dark Man, Delta Force 2, A.K.A. Colombian Connection, Men at Work, American Ninja 4 Annihilation, and one of my favorites, The Shrimp on the Barbie, guys. And a couple little things. We're going to tease some TV as well. We've got Ferris Bueller TV series, Jim Henson's Mother Goose stories, Guys Next Door. We've got some television to discuss as well. That's going to be a fun month. August is a good one. So, yeah, there you go. Yes, Lacey.
I met Kiefer Sutherland on Friday. He was very, very nice.
Aw,
Yeah,
cool.
We were talking about we have a little spotlight on Young Gun, so I just wanted to say I met Kiefer Sutherland and Ludwig Phillips on Friday, and they were both awesome.
That's cool. I'm looking forward to
cool.
talking Young Guns 2. Actually, my wife likes Young Guns 2 more than the first one. I might have to agree, but I'm going to rewatch to find out for sure. This is the Fandom Podcast Network. Please help us out. Follow us, of course, on YouTube, subscribe, and on all of the podcast catchers. My name is Kevin. You can find me at Spartan_Phoenix on all of the socials, including Blue Sky. Fandom Podcast Network is also on Blue Sky at FanPod Network. How can we get a hold of you?
Oh, you can find me, of course, of all the great places you can find the Fandom Podcast Network, but you can also find me on X and Blue Sky at A.K.A. or on Instagram and Threads at A.K.A. Fandom.
Lacey, where can we find you?
Running around Dragon Con on Labor Day weekend. Come and say hello in the military sci-fi track room in the Westin.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Also, support us on TeePublic. I'm wearing my Time Warp t-shirt there. You can get all of the show's logos from all of the shows on the network of Fandom Podcast Network. You can search Fandom Podcast Network, Time Warp as well, and you get your cool t-shirt. And we got other cool stuff like hoodies and cups and all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you help us out there. Just watch out getting the red shirt Union Federation shirt there. We don't know how long you'll last. Thank you guys so much. This has been, of course, Time Warp 1990. And until next time, guys, first of all, thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Lacey. This has been a great discussion. We will see you in August. We'll see you back in time.